Hare Krishna. I offer my humble obeisances unto all the devotees who assembled this evening to discuss on this topic of how to tolerate reversals, how to deal with the inevitable difficulties of life. Yes, difficulties are very common in anybody's life in this world. But when we have the maturity to deal with them, we will not get overwhelmed. We will not lose our faith. So I will share a few shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita and some episodes from Srimad Bhagavatam, some stories from Bhagavatam. And there is no end to this topic as such. Because difficulties are endless, reversals are endless, discussion on it is also endless. But we have to end somewhere. Let's see when will we end tonight. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This material world is dukkhalayam, it's a place of miseries. And ashashvatam, whatever little happiness is there in this world, that is so temporary, so insubstantial. It's like somebody is traveling in a dry, hot desert and he's very thirsty, and to quench his thirst, few drops of water is given to him. Few drops, not a bottle. Few drops of water. What will he do? He was asked, open your tongue, open your mouth, pull out your tongue. He's just putting one drop. One drop water. 2 drops. More? You're more thirsty? Okay, third drop. So what will the few drops of water do to the tremendous amount of thirst he has? That's what is the happiness in this material world. There is enough happiness in this material world for us to just continue surviving through the distress. That's all. There is no surplus of happiness. And even if somebody thinks or imagines that he has so much of happiness in this world, they are imagining so out of illusion. Because very soon that whatever little happiness is there, it will fade away. And in fact, the experience of that happiness is also based on a very, very insubstantial or shallow foundation. But how do we survive through all these difficulties in life? Krishna gives this formula. One of the first teachings of Bhagavad Gita is tolerance. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama nitya samstitikshasva bharata. Agama apayino anitya. Understand that happiness and distress comes in this world and it goes also. And titiksha, cultivate this tolerance. Tam stitikshasva bharata. So tolerating happiness and distress in this world is at one level. When you are tolerating, you are still perceiving the difference between happiness and distress. This is happiness and this is distress. And I need to tolerate. Tolerating distress we understand. Why should we tolerate happiness? What is the logic behind tolerating happiness? So we need to tolerate happiness also. Because happiness may sometimes make us overconfident, proud, arrogant. Happiness in life may make us look down upon people who are not so happy like us. Prosperity, material prosperity in life may make us so arrogant and proud that we demean or disrespect people who are not so prosperous like us on a material plane. Therefore, we need to tolerate happiness also. And tolerating distress, needless to say, we have to tolerate distress. We have to deal with distress. Do the needful. As far as humanly possible, you need to counteract distress. You don't have to, in the name of tolerating distress, you don't have to just keep on keeping quiet without doing anything. When it's raining outside, you cannot stop rain, of course. But you can always take an umbrella, right? Similarly, when there is distress in life, you may not be able to stop it so much, but as far as humanly possible, you can always safeguard yourself from being overly affected by the distress. That much effort we need to put. Clear? So, we can rejoice happiness. We can rejoice happy moments in life, but without getting overwhelmed with pride or overconfidence or arrogance. Similarly, we need to deal with the distress as far as humanly possible without becoming depressed, demotivated, discouraged or dysfunctional. Sometimes we can become dysfunctional when there is distress in life. Distress is there, deal with it as far as humanly possible. But when the amount of distress in life goes beyond your capacity to counteract, what should you do? Surrender to the situation. When situation goes beyond your control, surrender to the situation. What did we do in COVID? Could we tolerate? Could we find a vaccine or could we deal with it immediately as soon as it came? So many months, maybe couple of years we were in lockdown, we were quarantined. We were not allowed to come outside. Satsang programs were not happening. Social distancing. Now you are all sitting close to each other, so many of you. But earlier there was a lot of social distancing. Circles were made. Don't go beyond this circle. So we surrendered to the situation. And we did not come close to each other for a long, long time. That's how online Sangha became very prominent. So in that situation of distress, we found a solution to deal with it. Oh, physical gatherings are prohibited because of this COVID virus. We cannot come together. Fine, let's find another way to come together. Always Zoom classes. We came together on Zoom, and that's how we came to know each other, many of us. Right? That's a positive thing. So distress, when it is dealt with diligence, with intelligence, it can bring out great fortune also. Thus, we need not hate distress. We need to tolerate distress. We need to deal with the distress in a mature way, so that even in distress we can have an enlivening experience. Something else, something glorious can come out even from a distressful situation. So now let's recount some. Oh, let me just speak this. We spoke 2.14, right? Matra Sparshaastu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukkha Asaha. Sita and Ushna. Sita and Ushna means heat and cold. They are on a bodily plane. Sukha and Dukkha. They are not on bodily plane. They are on
happiness and distress.
Happiness and distress. They are on mental plane. Right? Mind experiences that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu Tatha Manapa Manayo. Sita and Ushna, heat and cold, are experienced on a bodily plane, physical plane, and happiness and distress are experienced on a mental plane. Man and Apman, honor and dishonor, respect and disrespect, they are experienced on an egoistic plane. When somebody disrespects us, the disrespect is coming in the form of harsh words, definitely we get emotionally affected, but more than that, our ego gets hurt. Ego gets hurt, disrespect, dishonor, apman. But that's what the life is meant for. Human body is meant for this only. Bhagavatam says, Nindana stava satkara nyakarartham kalevaram. This kalevara, this material body, is meant to experience multiple types of realities. Nindana, stava. Nindana means criticism. Stava means praise. In this world, people will praise us sometimes. People will criticize us also. Sometimes the praise is exaggerated. We still feel comfortable. When somebody praises you more than what you deserve, we feel comfortable, right?
Yes.
But when someone criticizes more than what we deserve, why we are not comfortable?
Uncomfortable.
Huh?
It's uncomfortable. Because like when they're trying to criticize you, you feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
So when exaggerated praise comes, we are comfortable, but we should not be comfortable with exaggerated praise also. Whenever praise comes, just transfer it to Krishna, transfer it to Guru, transfer it to Vaishnavas, transfer it to Acharyas, Parampara, instead of claiming credit for it. Vaishnava culture teaches us, take responsibility for the mistakes and transfer credit for the success. Right? When success happens, transfer the credit of success to all those people who empowered you, who trained you, who helped you, who supported you, who favored you. And when some mistakes happen, take responsibility. Yes, this mistake happened because of me, I will rectify it. But general tendency of people is, this mistake happened because of him, because of her. Shift blame. And when something good happens, yeah, I have done it. Because of me, all these things happen. There's an eagerness to claim credit and shift blame, but we need to do the opposite as Vaishnavas. But in this world, we cannot survive if we adopt that kind of mentality. So do the needful as a practical friend. But okay, let me come back. Sitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapa manayo. Krishna taught us to tolerate the inevitable appearance of happiness and distress and these dualities. But Krishna gives a higher principle than that. More than tolerance is equanimity. Equanimity means seeing happiness and distress on an equal plane. How can they be equal? Happiness and distress are opposite to each other. Success and failure are opposite to each other. Victory and defeat are opposite to each other. Heat and cold are opposite to each other. But Krishna says, see both of them on an equal plane. Then only you are eligible for liberation. He says another point. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate. If you can maintain equanimity amidst happiness and distress, so amritatvaya kalpate. Then you are eligible for amritatva. Mriti means death, the cycle of birth and death. Amritatva means beyond death, immortality, liberation. You will attain a liberated state when you manage to maintain equanimity towards happiness and distress. How can we see happiness and distress equally? What is the logic behind seeing happiness and distress equally? They both are temporary. In the previous shloka, Krishna clarified. Agama, apayino, anitya. Anitya means they are temporary in nature. Because they are temporary, they are equal. Happiness is temporary. Distress is also temporary. Therefore, both are equal. That's one logic. And both are material. That's another logic. Both are material and both are temporary, therefore tolerate. And see them equally. Another thing is, when you raise your consciousness to a higher plane by chanting the holy names of Krishna, when you raise your consciousness to a very, very elevated plane by hearing Krishna Katha, by discussing Krishna Katha, that absorption in Krishna Katha and Krishna Naam will make us oblivious to the inevitable appearance of happiness and distress in life. We will be able to see them on an equal plane. I often give this example. When kids are aspiring for toys, can the kids play it silently there? Maybe some silent toys, soft toys can be used. For example, a child wants toys. A red toy will give happiness to the child, and a blue toy may give distress to the child. But for a parent, whether it is red toy or blue toy, both are same. Samadukha sukham dhiram. It's a toy ultimately. How much does it cost? $50, $100? That's what matters to the father. How much I have to pay. Right? For this toy. He's obsessed with this toy. You choose the color. I will pay the currency. Right? So currency matters for the father. How expensive is it? But which color? Both are toys only. He is aspiring for a red car instead of blue car. But both cars are not useful for driving. Right? Father has a real car. So father has a higher taste. And the child has a lower taste of aspiring for toy cars and not real cars. Similarly, people who are not so spiritually evolved, they get overwhelmed with happiness and distress on a material plane. But people who are very elevated in spiritual life, they see happiness and distress both on a material plane only. Red car may give happiness to the child and blue car may give distress to the child, but both are toy cars. For father, both are same. Similarly, happiness may excite the conditioned soul and distress may dishearten the conditioned soul, but for a spiritually elevated soul, both are temporary. Both happiness and distress are of no relevance. When you are traveling on the road, if there is red signal, you have to stop. If there is green signal, you can move ahead. But when you are traveling in an airplane, whether it is red signal or green signal, that's of no relevance to you. They have no relevance. Airplane will not stop when there is a red signal. Airplane will not move ahead just because there is a green signal. It has its own thing. Similarly, material happiness and material distress are of no relevance to a devotee, and we need to elevate our consciousness to that state where we see happiness and distress on an equal plane. On an equal plane. Not just tolerating happiness and distress, but see them equally. And the ability and inspiration to see happiness and distress on an equal plane comes by discussing Krishna Katha regularly, elevating our consciousness to a higher consciousness, Krishna consciousness, by discussing Krishna Katha and chanting Krishna Naam. Chanting Krishna's holy names and chanting and discussing Krishna Katha, that will bring our hearts so close to each other on a spiritual plane. Initially, friendships amongst devotees can happen because they are coming from the same geographical location. We both are from India, we both are from Andhra, we both are from Maharashtra, we both are Mumbai walas, so let's have a friendship. We both like halwa, therefore let's make friendship. You like halwa, I don't like halwa, let's make friendship. Whenever you get halwa, you give me. That's the reason for friendship. So friendships can begin with all these external material considerations. But real friendships are friendships based on Krishna Katha, Krishna Naam. When we come together understanding that we are all servants of Krishna, potentially lovers of Krishna, all of us are children of Krishna, thus we all have a natural spiritual relationship with each other. That relationship is spiritual based on Krishna. Therefore, we are together. When we have that as the center of our interactions, that will bring our hearts closer, and when we have genuine spiritual friendships with each other, we will be able to handle all distresses in life very easily. Because devotees, whenever we are in distress, they give their shoulder, come, put your head there, have some solace. They have sofas also, but what a shoulder does, sofa cannot do. Right? Sofa may be softer than shoulder. And if the person is little skinny, the bones inside the shoulder may pierce the person also. Right? Still, this has its own relevance. Right? That's emotion, that's love, that's affection. So we genuinely show love, affection and empathy and sympathy towards other devotees whom we love. And that love for another devotee must be based on our relationship with Krishna, not based on some external considerations. Bodily relationships have a beginning and they have an end. Agama apayano anityaha. But spiritual relationship based on Bhagavatam, based on Harikatha, based on Harinam, you respect another devotee for his or her devotion to Krishna. Not because we both are from India or America or Gujarat. That's external consideration. But you see the devotee glorifying Krishna, speaking Krishna Katha, having genuine appreciation for some qualities of Krishna, and you become attracted to that devotee based on his or her attraction to Krishna. That's a spiritual attraction. You may love or respect other devotees for their managerial skills or for their talents, skills, capabilities, accomplishments, achievements, looks. So many reasons are there to get attracted to a devotee and to appreciate another devotee. There could be hundreds of multiple reasons. But the real reason why we should get attracted to devotees is their love for Krishna, their devotion to Krishna. When they have genuine devotion, which they express while they glorify Krishna, that attraction that we have towards other devotee for their glorification of Krishna or for the way they are glorifying Krishna, that is a genuine attraction. Love them for their love for Krishna rather than loving them for their skills and material talents or wealth or other physical capabilities. They will come and go. How long can a human being impress other human beings with their physical looks? Beauty will fade. Skin will become wrinkled. People will become old. Hair will become white. So many things will happen. How long can you get impressed with their skills? Somebody will be an expert singer. But as age progresses, the throat also will have different transformations and physical capacity also will go less. They may not be able to do, they may not be able to sing for a longer time. Managerial capabilities also will have some limits. So when you get impressed with others for their external skills and thus make a relationship with them, that's temporary. But when you get inspired by their Krishna consciousness, by their sadhana, by their swadhyaya, by their sadachar, by their seva bhav, that's real spiritual attraction. Make friendships on that basis. On that basis, if you interact with each other, they will help you in your distressful times. Even if they cannot physically help you. For example, somebody has very chronic disease and he has very good devotee friends. But those devotee friends may not be able to cure the disease, but they can give that solace, they can make you more and more Krishna conscious, they can remind you of Krishna, and that calamity, that situation of calamity will become an opportunity to intensify your remembrance of Krishna and become more and more absorbed in Krishna consciousness with the assistance of other devotees. And it's not an austere condition anymore. For a devotee, calamity is an opportunity to taste the nectar of Vaishnava relationships. When we are in distress, devotees become more kind to us, isn't it? Mother loves a child, naturally. But when the child is sick, mother's love and affection and attention to the child's needs will be more intensified. Right? Mother's love for the child is more exhibited when the child has some problem. Similarly, how much devotees love us and care for us is revealed when we are undergoing some distress. Thus, for a devotee, undergoing distress becomes an opportunity to taste devotees' love and Krishna's love. So when somebody is sick and other devotees are coming and assisting this devotee through the sick period, then this devotee, I am also referring to some living examples also. Some devotees who underwent so much physical distress and pain and sickness, they felt that I had a lot of bitter feelings towards this devotee, lot of bad impression on this devotee for whatever he or she is. But now in my sick period, he is the one who is coming and assisting me. My God, why did I hate him? Why did I envy him? Or at least why did I hold some negative emotions towards this devotee? In this way, devotees, when they undergo some distresses, the distress will inspire them to see good in others. In a materially prosperous situation, where somebody feels a sense of self-sufficiency, they may not be able to recognize others' good qualities. Sometimes it happens, right? Have you ever had such an experience where you fail to recognize someone's glory when you are prosperous materially or healthy physically? But you could recognize how nice the other devotees are when you are in some distress and when you received some help from them. I have been hating this person for a long time, but he is the one who rescued me now. Thus, distress also gives us an opportunity to see good in others and bring out good in others. When we are physically healthy, somebody must have envied us. Somebody must have taunted us. Somebody must have mistreated us. But when we are experiencing some calamity, distress, they showed sympathy. They showed empathy. They extended their helping hand. Their good nature came out. You see, we need not hate distress. We have to deal with distress, but distress also has its own utility and application and positive side in our life. Distress is not always bad. Let me just share an example of the Pandavas. Right in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 9th chapter, there is a beautiful conversation between Bhishma and the Pandavas. Pandavas went through so many calamities, hundreds of calamities. Bhishma tried to console the Pandavas, saying, Aho kashtam aho nyayam yadyoyam dharma nandana Jeevitam narhata klishtam vipra dharmachyutashrayah Aho kashtam, aho anyayam. Kashtam means difficulty. It may not be caused by somebody deliberately, but you have some difficulty. You have some headache. It's a difficulty. Is it caused by somebody? Of course, when somebody is shouting, you may get headache. That's a different thing. But without nobody shouting, we are getting headache because of our fatigue or whatever it may be. So you have some physical problem or other problems. There are difficulties which are not deliberately caused by somebody. But anyayam, injustice means they are deliberately caused by somebody. Pandavas face both flavors of difficulties. Some are just natural difficulties, some are caused by Duryodhana, Dushyasan, Karna, Sakni. Anyayam means injustice. There are difficulties in life, there are injustices in life. Aho kashtam, aho anyayam, yadyuyam dharmanandana, jeevitam nahata klishtam. Amidst all those injustices and calamities, you didn't deserve to live only. You didn't deserve to survive. Surviving through all these difficulties is very difficult. What kind of difficulties? Vishan mahagneha purushada darshana tasasabhaya vanavasa kritsata mridhe aneka maharathastrato draudyastataschasma hare virakshita. Bhima, as a young boy, he was poisoned. And their house was set on fire. Bhima experienced some difficulties, but when somebody deliberately sets fire, not fire accident by the way. Fire accident is a difficulty. It's custom. But somebody setting fire to our home is anyaya, is injustice, right? And deliberately Pandava's house was burnt. So many difficulties, so many injustices. How did they survive? They survived because they are Vipra Dharma Achyuta Ashraya. They have taken Ashraya, shelter of Vipra, means devotees. Dharma means bhakti, the process of devotional service. Achyuta means Krishna. Because they have taken shelter of bhakti, Bhagavan and bhaktas, they could survive through all these injustices and calamities. So bhakti, danger is not a danger if we can manage to take shelter of Vipra, Dharma and Achyuta. But even happiness is also a danger when we forget Krishna, when we forget devotees, when we go away from devotees. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful episode. Krishna had a friend in Sandipan Muni's Gurukul, a Brahmana friend. You know who is that? Yes, Shivam? Who is Krishna's friend in Sandipan Muni's Gurukul? Brahmana friend. Little boy like you. His name starts with S. Okay? Yes, he is very good.
Sudama.
Sudama. Krishna and Sudama are great friends. One day, Sandipan Muni's wife sent Krishna and Sudama to the forest. Can you please collect some firewood? She told the boys. The boys went, collected firewood. They were holding the firewood with their hands. And there was a great calamity. What was the calamity? There was flood. There was thunder. Everything became pitch dark. So much of heavy rain. There was no difference between highlands and lowlands because everything is covered by water. So they did not know what to do. And by the way, Krishna lifted Govardhan mountain when Indra created a devastating rainfall in Vrindavan. But when there is a rainfall in Ujjain area, Avanti area, Krishna did not lift any Govardhan or he did not manifest even his spiritual effulgence. He acted like a normal human child who is a disciple or a student in a school. That's all. I am a student of my Guru. I am not Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna identified himself as a student and a simple Gurukul boy, and he experienced the distress, flood waters. They were wet, they were shivering. Sudama and Krishna, they could not find their way to ashram, their Gurukul. They did not see anything because everything was dark, everything was wet. In such a dangerous situation, in such a calamity, what did Krishna do? What did Sudama do? They had two hands. Krishna did not manifest four hands. Okay? They only had two hands. With one hand, they are holding each other's hand, like this. With the other hand, they were holding the firewood which they have collected for their Guru Patni. What is the message here? Very important message. All of us must learn. The message here is that calamities will come in this world, distresses will come in this world, but we need to hold on to two things. One, association of other devotees, Sangha. Two, service to spiritual master, Seva. Don't leave Seva and Sangha. Sudama and Krishna did not leave each other. They held on to each other's hands very tightly. Even little inattentiveness in not holding the friend's hand will separate them forever amidst this great floods, flood waters. It's dark everywhere, water everywhere, storm, thunder. No difference between highlands and lowlands. But they were attentively, with great alertness, they were holding on to each other's hands. They did not leave each other. If they have just slipped each other's hands, when will they meet again, God knows. Of course, God is there, but we are seeing them as Gurukul boys and not God. So they may get separated. They may get separated due to this flood waters, but they held on to each other's hands. So what gives us solace in life amidst difficulties is association of devotees. Don't leave them. Don't leave association of devotees. Even if they are not pure devotees, although they are struggling sadhakas, they may be dozing off in their japa, or they may be overeating or undereating, whatever they may be, they are devotees. You see, in this chapter, Upadeshamrit, Rupa Goswami gives a beautiful principle. Drishtai svabhava janitair vapushascha doshair na prakritatvam bhakta janasya pashyet drishtai svabhava janitair vapushascha doshair. Never look at another Vaishnava from the perspective of physical defects. Vapushascha doshair means there are so many physical defects. Somebody may be thin, somebody may be fat, somebody may be short, some devotee may be tall, somebody may be dark, some devotee may be fair. Don't go by this external. Physically there could be faults, there could be some skin disease, there could be some fracture on the leg, or they may not have one hand. So there could be so many physical defects, but never disrespect a Vaishnava for their physical defects. Right? This much everybody understands. At least physically nobody will ridicule another Vaishnava. Clear. But interestingly, Rupa Goswami also says Svabhava janitair. Svabhava means their nature, their characteristics. Somebody may be very harsh, very rude, very strict, very insensitive. Devotees, by the way. Devotees may speak little harshly. Svabhava janitair. Rupa Goswami, Acharya specifically mentioned, devotees may be harsh, sometimes they may be lazy also. They may not get up early in the morning. Still, they are devotees. Respect them. So respect them. You may maintain respectful distance and respect them from a distance instead of disrespecting them by reducing the distance. But respect them somewhere. If respecting them is difficult for you by coming closer, maintain a respectful distance and respect them from a distance. Right? But don't disrespect devotees because they're devotees. For the simple reason that they're chanting Hare Krishna. And what about the faults in them? What about the self-evident faults? It's not that I am finding faults in them. I'm not attributing faults on them. But I'm naturally seeing fault in their behavior. How can I respect this person? Answer is simple. Prahlad Maharaj gave that answer. You know what is that answer? Yes. He said, what was that shloka? Just came to my mind and devotees have sarvair gunais tatra samasate sara yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate sura harava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna manorathena sati dhavato bahi yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana. When somebody is practicing devotional service, somebody is following a kinchana bhakti process, sarvair gunais tatra samasate sura. All the gunas, all the good qualities and even devatas also manifest there in their personality. When? God knows. But they will manifest. Provided they are doing a kinchana bhakti. This is very important. Star conditions apply. If they are doing a kinchana bhakti, they are practicing devotional service selflessly, although they may be lacking in certain good qualities will eventually come. They may not be tolerant. They may be little impatient. They may be irritable. They may be harsh, they may become angry so fast. But it's okay, no problem. They are chanting Hare Krishna, they are practicing devotional service, right? All the good qualities will manifest later. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of all the good qualities that he has enumerated in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and even 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the foremost quality is devotion to Krishna, bhakti unto Krishna. Others like humility, tolerance, satisfaction, gratitude, they will eventually manifest one by one. Later. Let's wait. Let's not hate. And some devotee manifests some kind of poor behavior, don't hate. Wait for them to develop good qualities. How long should I wait? If you can't wait, maintain some distance. No problem. Nothing wrong in that. The compatibility factor is little less. It's okay, no problem. You can maintain respectful distance, but don't hate. That's the minimum we need to do. So, coming back to our discussion, our Krishna and Sudama, is it coming from here or there? Some other mic is there on?
Want to use this one? Want to use this one?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, better. So, Krishna and Sudama did not leave each other. When calamity came in their life, instead of leaving each other, they held on to each other's hands. Where is Krishna, where is Sudama? But still, one is God, one is a devotee. One is Kshatriya, one is Brahmana. One is rich, one is poor. One is a great prince, one is like a beggar almost. But still they are friends. Similarly, in our devotee community also, we may have a lot of differences externally between each other. But what is common amongst each other? We are devotees of Krishna. We are aspiring for the same goal, which is Krishna Prema. So let's hold on to each other. And that holding on to each other is what helps us deal with the distresses in a mature way. Pandavas, their strength is there together. All five of them are different from each other. Bhima is different. Who is that? Arjun is totally different. Yudhishthira Maharaj is dharmic, very shant. Bhima is very aggressive. Arjun is somewhere in the middle. And Nakul and Sahadev had their own special qualities. But they are all together always. You see this garland? It has orange color flowers, yellow flowers, there's white flower here and there, and some green is also seen here and there, the leaves. That's why garland is looking so beautiful. And they are all always in perfect sync with each other. They are nicely strung together. Similarly, devotees of different natures, different skills, when they come together, they together form a beautiful garland to be offered to Krishna. So, let's accept the diversity amongst devotees and deal with adversity. Right? To deal with adversity in our lives, we need to accept diversity amongst devotees and not get overwhelmed by this diversity. You can have your own close friends, Swajatiya, that's fine, but maintain a reasonably good relation or friendship with everyone around. May not be close friendship, but at least let's not have any bitterness in the interactions. That will help us deal with the distresses more effectively and easily. Next. In the first canto of Bhagavatam only, there is another episode where Narada Muni, in his previous life as the son of a maid servant, lost his mother. Narada Muni and his mother, which Narada Muni in his past life was a son of a maid servant. That maid servant and her little 5-year-old child, they both rendered service to Bhaktivedanta sages for 4 full months of monsoon season. And that service that they have rendered purified them so much. And this boy came to Prema stage. He became Krishna Premi by the training and inspiration given by the Bhaktivedanta sages. That too within just 4 months. He became a Premi Bhakta. But after the Bhaktivedanta sages initiated the boy and left, one day, one evening, his mother went out to milk a cow and she was bitten by a snake and she died. What a great calamity. This boy had no other protector, no other relative to take care of him, 5-year-old child. And he became a devotee. When he became a devotee, his mother died. And Narada Muni, while mentioning this story, he said, Bhaktanam Shamabhipsataha, my dear Lord is well-wisher of all his devotees. Shamabhipsataha means he desires auspiciousness for all his devotees. His mother died and then Narada Muni is saying that my Lord desires only auspiciousness for me. How is mother's death, only protector's death, only guardian's death auspicious in his life? Has he become so hard-hearted by practicing bhakti? Has he become so indifferent or insensitive that he doesn't even cry or doesn't feel bad or devastated when his mother died? No, that's not the point here. We only see what happens in this material world with our material eyes. But what happened after the death of this mother, we need to consider. The mother died. When did she die? Not 4 months back. Now she died. What did she do in these 4 months before her death? She rendered service to Bhaktivedanta sages. If a 5-year-old child was elevated to prema stage by serving the Bhaktivedanta sages sincerely at that age, how much more spiritual elevation must this maid servant must have got? Okay, whatever may be her stage, there is no clear mention that she became a premi bhakta, but we can safely assume that she rendered some service to Bhaktivedanta sages and she is spiritually elevated. And by allowing her to die, what did Krishna do? Krishna gave her an opportunity to practice devotional service in a next life in a better situation. Instead of being a maid servant here and working in 10 houses and getting your livelihood and maintaining your 5-year-old child, better you go to another life and continue the practice of bhakti in a more comfortable situation, or go back to Godhead. Maybe she must have gone back to Godhead also, we don't know exactly. But definitely she is put in a better situation than what she is experiencing now, so that she can practice bhakti. And what happened to this boy? This boy went on traveling and meditated on the Lord. He could see the Lord within his heart, and Lord spoke to him also. And eventually he practiced his sadhana, he chanted the holy names, he heard Krishna Katha, and eventually he became Narada Muni. If he stuck as the son of a maid servant and only loving bonding between mother and son, would he have become Narada Muni, a transcendental spaceman? And Narada Muni guided so many people in their spiritual life. So whatever happens in the life of a devotee, whether it is materially pleasant or unpleasant, it happens only with the sanction of Krishna, and Krishna is in control. Krishna is a desire of auspiciousness for all his devotees. Although externally speaking, it's a calamity in the life of the child and the mother, but both of them spiritually become so elevated by that one incident. One snake bite changed their lives. Right? They become more spiritually evolved. Pruthu Maharaj and Archi, in the 4th canto of Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful divine couple, Pruthu Maharaj and Archi. How many of you know these names? You know Pruthu Maharaj and Archi? Very good. So, if you don't know, no problem. So, Pruthu Maharaj and Archi were pure devotees of the Lord. They ruled the kingdom for a long time. And when the right time came, they retired from the kingdom and they went to the forest. After doing so much service to the citizens, so much of worship of the Supreme Lord, they went to the forest to perform some austerities. They did austerities. They did some yoga. And then Pruthu Maharaj died in the forest after retiring from active king life. Nobody was there in the forest. Nobody was there to attend to them. No one was there to conduct the funeral rites, last rites. And this wife of Pruthu, Archi, she became alone, widow. What did she do? She gathered some sticks in the forest, somehow managed to organize a funeral pyre, and kept the dead body of her husband on that funeral pyre. And she took a bath, lit fire to her husband's dead body, and she jumped into the fire. What will news reporters do if they happen to see? What will their CCTV cameras do? They will capture this footage. They said, see, they are devotees of the Lord. Whole life they worship the Lord. They worship Lord Lakshmi Narayan. And this is the end they got. Nobody was there. For many people, to die while being surrounded by so many relatives is a glorious death for many people. They lived such a wonderful life. They had so much opulence. They had big home. They had so much money, so much wealth, and they made the children study so nicely. They give property to children, and amidst all the children, they died. Glorious death. After that, where will they go? They will go to hell also. Who knows? Right? By hook or crook, they somehow managed to get some money and wealth and gave their children. And if they are sinful, they will go to hell. But what happened to Pruthu and Darchi? They are devotees of the Lord. And they died without anyone next to them. Their children are ruling the kingdom there. They died alone in the forest. And that too, this Archie, she set fire to the dead body of her husband and she jumped into the fire. It's seen as suicide. But materialists only see this much. After jumping into the funeral pyre of her own husband, what happened to Archie and what happened to Pruthu in the first place? A Vaikuntha airplane came down. Pruthu and Archie boarded the Vaikuntha airplane and they went to Vaikuntha. They did the abode of Lord Vishnu. And all the devatas in the upper planets, they were glorifying Archie and Pruthu. Such a wonderful couple, such ideal couple. They worshipped the Lord for such a long time. Whole life, they lived a life of dedication to devotional service and they became devotees and now they are going to Vaikuntha. Even we aspire for such a birth in the earthly planet. Devatas in the upper planets, in the heavens, they are aspiring for the birth of Archie and Pruthu as human couple on this earthly planet. You see? But that is not visible to our eyes, somehow. The Lord, although He gives some apparent calamities in the lives of devotees, it could be health problem, it could be financial problem, it could be death also, it could be some other thing also, setting fire to the home also, like Pandavas experienced. They are not being neglected by the Lord. The Lord is giving them special kind of treatment and accelerating their spiritual advancement. So for a devotee, a calamity is an opportunity to intensify their dependence on Krishna and remembrance of Krishna, and the devotees don't perceive calamity as neglect of Krishna. They perceive calamity as an opportunity to remember Krishna better. Maybe I am not sufficiently prayerful. Maybe I am not sincere in my practice of bhakti. And that's why the Lord is giving me this calamity so that I become more serious in bhakti. Okay? Does it make sense to you? It's not like sugarcoating the calamity. No, the Lord is using calamities in the lives of devotees, and this sadhu, this brahmachari is just defending the Lord by saying that the Lord is purifying them, etc. But that's the fact. You know how a devotee feels. Tatenu kampam susamikshapado bhunjana eva maktam vipakam hritvama purbher vidadhan namaste jivetayo muktipade sadaya bhak. A devotee feels that I have done so many mistakes, and as a token punishment for all the mistakes I have done, Krishna is organizing this calamity or difficulty in my life so that I can get purified. When somebody does a mistake and if he experiences punishment, there is purification. I will be purified in my consciousness by experiencing this punishment. That's what the devotee thinks. And the Lord sanctioned it. And in this situation, what am I supposed to do? With my mind, with my words, with my heart, I should just take shelter of Krishna. Nothing else. Such a person is eligible for liberation. Carefully endure all calamities and difficulties in life without blaming anyone, without identifying someone else as the cause of your difficulty, but accepting responsibility for your difficulty and taking shelter of Krishna. That will bring us closer to Krishna instead of hating people, instead of developing a negative mindset. Right? So calamity is definitely not bad. And in fact, whenever we get some difficulties in life, that will help us to become more and more detached. However opulent I may be, however influential I may be, however powerful I may be, however pure I may be, however honest and righteous I may be, however virtuous I may be, I will have to face difficulties in this world because that is the nature of this world. It is dukkha shashvatam. You go to a salt mine, wherever you scratch, you will only get salt. You will not get sugar syrup. You will not get gulab jamun juice. You will not get rasmalai milk. You will not get some other sweets or sugar or kadi shakar. Wherever you scratch, you will only find salt and salt mine. Similarly, in this dukkhalaya, whoever you may be, you will only face distress in this world. Little happiness may be there here and there, but that also may make us attached to this material world, so that we experience more distress. When we are materially prosperous, when we have so much of material wealth and material comforts, that will make us more and more attached to this material world. But when there is distress, then we are inspired to get out of this world. Right? You want to get out of this material world, or you want to stay here forever? How many of you want to get out of this material world? Huh? How many want to stay in this world forever? Not a single hand. I'm sorry, okay. So if you don't want to be in this material world, better accept calamities, experience them. Not that you have to purchase calamities. Oh, I was told I should accept calamities. Let me go and cut my hand. Let me go and cut my neck. That's not, you don't have to purchase calamity. They will come. Even without you aspiring for it, they will come to you. Whatever comes to you, just accept them. Endure them. Experience them. Try your best to counteract them. But when it goes beyond your control, without any blame, without any complaints, without any resentment, without any grudges, either towards the Lord or any apparent living entity who must have caused the problem, just endure them. Get out of this material world. Finish your business. Nothing happens randomly in this world. When we deserve a calamity, we will experience calamity. Nothing happens without we deserving it. Human calculations may go wrong, but the Lord's calculations will never go wrong. Karmana Devanitrena, all our activities are being carefully observed and monitored by some higher forces. We may think all the traffic signal is showing red, let me just go. Nobody saw me. No traffic constable. You can't see any police constable. I never saw. I never saw any traffic constable. But I also saw people are following traffic rules. Right? There are CC cameras there. Cameras are so powerful. They can click a photo of your number plate and they can send you some bill, fine, but they may cancel your driving license. So because of that, you follow the rules. If man-made CC cameras are so powerful to keep you on track and observe everything that you are doing, what about the CC cameras of the spiritual world? What about the CC camera of Paramatma who is residing in everybody's heart? Can any CC camera be more powerful than this? Sometimes there is memory is full sometimes. You have to remove the old footage, otherwise you cannot capture new footage in a camera. But the Lord's memory, although He has been recording every single thought that passes through our minds, every single activity that we have done with our senses, although He has been recording that since time immemorial, and He will continue to record for the rest of eternity, His memory is never full. Right? He never exhausted His memory. He never had to discard the old memories. He never had to clean up his hard disk. Oh, my system got heated up, let's format the disk. He never had to format. He never had to delete some data. When your Gmail capacity is full, 15 GB full, delete some old mails, delete some mails that have large attachments. You don't have to do that. Clear spam, empty trash bin. You don't have to do all that. The Lord has unlimited memory to record every single thought that we ever had. So how can we escape that? So nothing is happening without the Lord's sanction. Nothing is happening without no calamity we are experiencing. Whatever calamity we are experiencing only by the Lord's amoda, sanction. He has given amoda. So if the Lord has sanctioned it, why should I have any objection for it? Oh Lord, you want me to be purified in this way? Let me get purified. But that does not mean we become irresponsible towards our own situation and we stop counteracting calamity. Lord will say, I have given you some intelligence, money, manpower, resources to counteract this calamity. You have not counteracted it. By misusing your independence, that's your problem. So, when we have ability, when it is within our capacity to counteract a problem, we must counteract that problem. We must eliminate all difficulties as much as possible. Just like Vasudeva comes up, lifted a sword to kill Devaki Mata. Right on the marriage day of Vasudeva. Vasudeva was not thinking, oh my God, today only I got married and my wife is being killed by her own brother. I should plan for another marriage, it seems. He did not think like that. He did not think that, okay, first day, I didn't even spend even one day with her. Right on the marriage day, we didn't even reach our home and she's been killed. Okay, fine, I'll ask my father to find another girl for my marriage. He did not think like that. He did his best to protect Devaki. He even promised that I will give all my sons to you, please protect her. Please don't kill her. The Kamsa had more relationship with Devaki than Vasudeva at that time. Vasudeva's relationship with Devaki was only a couple of hours during the marriage ceremony, during the travel midway. But Kamsa has been seeing her since her birth and they were more close to each other. But this Kamsa had absolutely no affection. That's how materialistic people are. They don't hesitate even to harm their own near and dear ones when it comes to their own personal safety and security. For their personal security, they don't hesitate to even kill their own dear people. But Vasudeva is not like that, he is a Vaishnava. So he tried his best to save Devaki, but he could not save his children. So when situation is beyond your control, accept it. Surrender to the situation. And that's what Vasudeva did. At least I protected my wife, I could not protect my children. So similarly, let's try to counteract calamity as much as possible, but let us not hate the Lord or hate anyone for causing a calamity in our life. Then we need to counteract, and when it goes beyond our ability, surrender to the situation. No other way. No other way. And by surrendering to the situation and experiencing that calamity, distress, we will become purified. We will become more and more purified of all the shortcomings that we have, all the sinful activities that we have done. When we experience a punishment or a reaction to our sinful deed, we are getting rid of it. It's good. By experiencing this distress, I am getting rid of all my sinful activities that I have done earlier. So it's good. You are getting relieved of all karma, and you are accepting the Lord's will, and you are maintaining a positive mindset. You are taking shelter of Krishna. You are coming closer to Krishna. But okay, let me tell another perspective. When there is a calamity, a struggling sadhaka or a neophyte devotee may lose faith in the Lord. That's another danger. Danger in danger. There is one danger already, one difficulty already. In that difficulty, the greater difficulty is to lose faith in Krishna. Uttara lost her husband Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was very young. He must be in his teens. But on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Abhimanyu was killed inappropriately by so many Maharathas. Multiple people came together to kill this one young boy on the battlefield. Uttara, at that time she was pregnant, very young girl. But she lost her husband. Did she blame Krishna? Krishna, why did you kill my husband? Why did you not protect? Are you not capable of protecting my husband? But she understands, after death, where did Abhimanyu go? Lotus feet of Krishna. He ate. I'm still stuck here. That's what she thought. But after the death of Abhimanyu, Ashwathama released the Brahmastra to kill the son of Uttara also. Earlier, her husband was killed. Now there is an attack on her child also. What did Uttara do? She went to Krishna saying, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyam Tadabhayam Pashyet Yatra Mrutyuh Parasparam. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin. Oh Mahayogi, please protect me, please protect me. Deva Deva Jagatpate. You are the master of the entire Jagat. Please protect me. She was praying. This Krishna did not protect my husband. Will he protect my son today? Why should I go to him? Let me go to another god. Did she think like that? No. Her faith did not get slackened even slightly. Calamity would not diminish the faith of a devotee. Pandavas underwent difficulties. Draupadi underwent difficulties. What mistake did she do? Dushasana is trying to pull her by hair and drag her into the assembly and even trying to disrobe her. What mistake did she do? She was a pure devotee. It's not that she was a sadhaka bhakta who had so many anarthas and aparats, therefore she was undergoing some calamity. Sometimes practicing devotees will undergo some difficulties when they do some when they have some anarthas, when they do some aparats. But that's understood. But Draupadi was not a practicing devotee. Kunti Mata was not a practicing devotee. And even Pandavas were not practicing devotees. They were pure devotees. Still, aho kashtama, aho nyayam yaduyam dharmanandana. The Lord wanted to announce to the whole world how my pure devotee will never lose his faith in me, never lose his trust in me, even if I arrange so many calamities in his or her life. Draupadi never gave up her faith in Krishna. Kunti Mata never gave up her devotion to Krishna. Uttara did not give up her devotion to Krishna. Pandavas never gave up their trust in Krishna's intentions or integrity just because they underwent so many calamities. Never give up your trust in Krishna's intentions and integrity. Krishna is always Bhaktanam Shamabhipsata. In fact, Krishna is so grateful to you, even for the little amount of devotional service you have done. Krishna will reciprocate with so much of love and affection that he will protect you from greatest danger. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you happen to do little bit of bhakti, the Lord will protect you from greatest calamity. Ajamil did little bhakti in the beginning of his life. But throughout the life, what was Ajamil doing? He was doing so many simple activities. But still, when he chanted Narayana, 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 not to call the Lord, but to call his son, still the Lord had sent 4 Vishnu Dutas to protect him from 3 Yamadutas. 1 Vishnu Duta is sufficient to counteract 300 Yamadutas or 3000 Yamadutas. But to counteract only 3 Yamadutas, 4 Vishnu Dutas came. Why? Ajamil chanted Narayana, the holy name of the Lord that had 4 syllables. And why 3 Yamadutas came? Because Ajamil committed sinful activities with his body, mind and words. Therefore 3 Yamadutas came. To counteract these 3 Yamadutas, the Lord had sent 4 Vishnu Dutas to save him. This is how the Lord is grateful. The Lord will protect us from greatest calamities. The greatest calamity is to glide down to lower species. The greatest calamity, even greater than that, is the greatest calamity is to lose faith in Krishna, to get distracted from bhakti. The Lord offers protection not exactly in terms of saving us from material difficulties. The Lord offers protection to us by protecting our inspiration to perform bhakti. When we lose inspiration to perform bhakti, that's the greatest difficulty. When we lose money, that's not greatest difficulty. When we lose good health, that's not greatest difficulty. But when we lose faith in Krishna, that's the greatest difficulty. And Lord, even while giving some difficulty to a devotee, the Lord will preserve the faith of the devotee. Our devotee has to take it as a responsibility to preserve one's faith, and devotee should beg for faith. Krishna, let me not deviate from bhakti, that's all you can do. If you give me calamities, no problem. Let me just endure all these difficulties, but don't allow me to deviate from bhakti. And how can we stick to the process of bhakti even amidst calamities? When we have association of devotees. It is the devotees who protect our bhakti lata bija, who will protect our devotional creeper when the elephant of material difficulties is trying to uproot that creeper. When devotees experience calamities, they will lose their faith in Krishna. At that time, devotees will come to our rescue and say, and will inform us, please don't lose faith in Krishna. My dear friend, please don't lose faith in Krishna. Krishna is your protector. How is he protector? How is he my protector? He gave me this difficulty in life. No. He gave you this difficulty just to purify you something, to purify you from some reaction, or give you some lesson. Just because he arranges this difficulty in you, that does not mean he doesn't love you. He wants you to develop more and more detachment from this material world. So don't lose faith. So in this way, devotees give us hope. Devotees instill faith in us. Devotees pacify us, control us, rejuvenate our attachment and commitment to devotional service. Therefore, to endure through all these difficulties, we have to be with devotees. We cannot give up devotees association. Devotees may misunderstand us. Devotees may even mistreat us sometimes. But still we should not give up the association of devotees. You may not have very close loving friendship with every single devotee, but at least few devotee friends are required for us to continue on the path of bhakti. We cannot do it alone. Progress in bhakti alone is impossible. Not difficult, it's impossible. As simple as that. Bharat Maharaj had nobody to tell him that you are getting distracted. Focus on bhakti. Nobody was there to tell him. Therefore Bharat was distracted. Now, let's conclude with, what's the time now? 8:30. Okay, what's the cut-off time? I don't know.
8:30.
8:30?
8:30, right?
We conclude? Yes, Dave, should we conclude?
I don't know if we can conclude, but I think...
Who are the organizers? Is he the organizer?
No.
Who is the senior most here? Are you the
I
senior
think I
most?
looked at the schedule.
Let me share one more example. The classical example of facing a difficulty and coming out of the difficulty is Gajendra. Gajendra faced this calamity. Gajendra was very happily living in this in Trikuta mountain region. Gajendra thought life will just go on like this forever. I am the king of this forest. Everybody surrenders to me. Everybody takes shelter of me, and other lower animals are surviving because of me. Gajendra is very happy. So many friends and family members and wives and children. So Gajendra, just with so much confidence and joy and power, entered this lake in the Trikuta mountain region, in the Ritumat garden. And suddenly, a crocodile caught the leg of Gajendra. This is how life is. When we are very prosperous and happy on a material plane, suddenly Maya will create some difficulty in us that we just cannot come out of it. Gajendra was thinking, maybe this elephant will leave me in 1 or 2 days, or 1 or 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, or 1 hour, or 1 or 2 days. 1 week passed, 1 month passed, 1 year passed, 10 years passed, 1,000 years passed. Still, the elephant is not leaving only. Sometimes we may get some problem, sickness, and in 3-4 days we are alright, physical health. But sometimes we have some sickness, you go to the doctor will say you have to live with this problem forever. Have you experienced that? Or some of your doctors must have seen some patients, they may have to live with certain disease forever. There is no control gene option. There is no possibility of coming out of that calamity. You have to live with it. So Gajendra was experiencing this danger for 1,000 years. And finally Gajendra took shelter of the Lord. And Lord came and protected Gajendra, you know that story. But it's not the story of Gajendra only. It is the story of every single living being, human being or a devotee. संसाराभसि संभृत भ्रम भरे गंभीरता पत्रया ग्राहेणाभिगृहीतमुग्रगतिना क्रोशन्तमन्तर्भयात् दीप्त्रेणाद्य सुदर्शनेन विबुधः क्लान्तिच्छिदाकारिण चिन्ता सन्ततिरुद्धमुद्धर हरे मच्चित्तदन्तीश्वरम् संसाराम्भसि संभृत भ्रमभरे. Samsara, this material existence is like a ocean. Ambhasi. Brahmabhare, it's filled with so many bewilderments, so many difficulties, so many dangers, so many calamities. Samsara, bhasi samprita brahmabhare, gambhirata patraya. Tapatraya, threefold material miseries are so gambhira, very grave, very difficult. Sitting together in a class and discussing about calamities may be much easier than actually experiencing the calamities. We may speak all these principles now, we may discuss all of them. When the real calamity comes, it's overwhelming. It's very difficult. I may speak this now. I have spoken this several times. I may speak several times also. When a real calamity comes into my life, I don't know. How will I respond? Therefore, I need all of your association. I need all of your blessings. Therefore, we need devotees. We may have knowledge, but our knowledge may not protect us sometimes. Our knowledge may not be sufficient to help us deal with a calamity in an appropriate manner. Therefore, we need a sangha of devotees. We need shoulders. Yes, please put your head here. Cry. No problem. Let my kurta become wet with your tears. No problem. I am there to help you. That's what devotees do. Samsarambhasi sambrata brahmabhare gambhirata patraya grahena vigrahita mugragatina kroshantamantarbhaya. Grahena abhigrihita ugragatina. Graha is this crocodile. This crocodile has caught my leg. Ugragatina, very fiercely, not leaving me for 1,000 years. What can I do? Grahena vigrihita ugragatina kroshantamantarbhaya. Akrosham, I am crying in lamentation. Gajendra was crying for 1,000 years. Did you ever cry for 1,000 years? You will cry for 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, 1 hour. Even to have the ability to cry for 1,000 years also is so great. Gajendra was crying for 1,000 years and nobody came to rescue him. And all the other elephant friends of Gajendra, they are so close to Gajendra, they are also crying. They are not solving the problem. In this material world, some people have empathy and sympathy towards us. They have compassion on us, but they don't have the capacity to protect us. And some people have the capacity to protect us, but they don't have compassion. Some people have the ability to help us, they don't have the intention to help us. Some people have the intention to help us, they don't have the ability to help us. Only Krishna has both. So what did Gajendra do? He took shelter of Krishna. Deetrena adya sudarshanena vibudha klantichidakarina. Please, O Lord, release your effulgent Sudarshan Chakra that has the experience of protecting even great devatas from their calamities. Please release that Sudarshan Chakra and destroy my calamity. Destroy this crocodile. Chinta santati ruddhamuddhara hare macchitta dantishwaram. Macchitta dantishwaram. Dantishwara is the boss of all the elephants. That is Gajendra. Macchitta dantishwara means my mind is like Gajendra. And all the distractions and temptations and allurements and difficulties in this material world are like crocodile. When a difficulty comes in my life, my mind is getting anxious, overwhelmed. But how my mind is supposed to respond to this danger or difficulty? By thinking about you. When we think about difficulty, we become so overwhelmed. When we think about Krishna amidst difficulties, we become relieved. You want relief or you want more anxiety? By dwelling too much on the problem, we will only become more and more anxious. But by thinking about Krishna, Savai Manaha Krishna Pedara Vindayor, then we will invoke Krishna's blessings. When we think too much about the problem, we are consciously or unconsciously thinking that we are supposed to be solving the problems. But please, let me humbly, honestly tell you, you cannot solve any of your problems. Even if you happen to solve your problem on your own, quote unquote, you are solving that problem with the capacity given to you by Krishna. Who has given you that intelligence to solve the problem? Who has given you that ability? Who has given you that resources or wealth or whatever you may be using to solve the problem? Who has given you that? Krishna has given you that. So let us take shelter of Krishna. Let Krishna come and solve the problem. You don't take it on your head. You have enough things to deal with. Don't take the anxiety of solving your anxieties. Give that anxiety to Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. Right? If you just take this anxiety of chanting Hare Krishna every day, He will solve the problem. He will destroy all your enemies. He will destroy all your anarthas. He will destroy all your difficulties. All we need to do is chant Hare Krishna. Shatruchhedaika mantram sakalam upanishadvakya sampujya mantram samsarochheda mantram samuchita tamasaha samdhaniryana mantram sarvaishwaryaika mantram vyasana bhujaga sandashta santrana mantram jitve Sri Krishna mantram japa japa satatam janma safalya mantram. Just chant Krishna mantra. Let Him handle it. You don't have to handle it. Don't increase your anxieties. Just divert all your mental anxieties to chanting Hare Krishna. Be anxious, be eager to chant Krishna, 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 Krishna. He will do the needful. He will come. Bhakta Paya Bhujanga Garudamani Trailokya Rakshamani, to protect all the devotees who are struggling with so many difficulties in all the three planetary systems, three worlds. The Lord will come on the back of Garuda. Trailokya Rakshamani. He will protect the devotees. It is His problem, not your problem. Right? Don't consider your problems. It's Krishna's problem to resolve your problem, provided you take shelter. So this is how we can deal with difficulties without getting overwhelmed, without losing faith, without losing focus on the purpose of our life. The purpose of life is to attain Krishna Prema, and if we can attain Krishna Prema by undergoing some difficulties, why not accept it? Difficulties helping us to come closer to Krishna. That's good, it's welcome. That's why Kunti Maharani is welcome. Vipataha samtutaha shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yasyata punar bhavadarshanam. Let there be more and more calamities. And because these calamities helping me to take your shelter. So that calamity is welcome. I'm happy with this calamity. Let it come again and again and again. Focus is not calamity. She's not a calamity lover. Right? Somebody likes pizza, somebody likes burger, and Kunti Mata likes danger. Not like that. She's not a calamity lover. She's a Krishna lover. And calamity is helping her come closer to Krishna. So she says, let there be more calamities. If this is how you give us darshan, no problem. I'll have calamities in my life, you keep giving darshan. Bhavato darshanam yasyat apunar bhavadarshanam. Then I don't have to take birth in this material world again. That's the focus of a devotee of Krishna. Okay. Sorry bro, I went beyond time. Chalega? I'll conclude here now. Any questions or comments? Yes, Madhuri. Mike.
No, I don't know if others have questions.
I don't. You can decide.
Anyone else?
Anyone else in the back has any questions?
Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. In the beginning, you were saying when we are happy, then we should give the credit to Krishna, and when we are in distress, we take the responsibility.
Yes.
But in the last, you said we give our anxiety to Krishna, let Him take care of it. So
we take the responsibility of taking shelter of Krishna. and let him deal with that difficulty. See, it's the spirit, it's the mood that matters. We take responsibility for our difficulties in the sense that I must have done some mistake. Therefore, Krishna is giving me this difficulty. So I am taking responsibility for the difficulty. But in this difficulty, what am I supposed to do? I must take shelter of Krishna. Thus we are transferring the responsibility to Krishna. Krishna, you want me to endure this difficulty? I will do it. No problem. But I want to take your shelter. In that sense, you are acknowledging that Krishna is the controller of your life. Maro bhi, rakho bhi, jo ichha to har. That is taking shelter. Dependence on Krishna. But I am experiencing this difficulty because of my own past mistakes. That is like taking responsibility for it. Any other question?
Thank you for the beautiful presentation. Very enlightening. Being product of mundane consciousness, there is so much external concepts leading to resentment about the carrier of my own karma. So, although as neophytes or aspiring sadhakas, there is theoretical understanding and practical experience of purification, but some vestiges or some obvious resentment persists. That's on a personal level, and like especially when we study Mahabharata, you see some resentment being expressed even there.
Why?
By Pandavas and Draupadi and Maharani Kunti. So how do you understand your own resentment, and how do you understand Shiva's resentment? And there's one more question.
That so-called resentment is only circumstantial and it's conventional. It's not heartfelt. Although Yudhishthira Maharaj fought with Duryodhana, he never hated Duryodhana at heart. Although Mother Draupadi was so overwhelmed with so many distresses, especially with the insult that happened to her, she forgave Ashwatthama. And Ashwatthama was bound. Duryodhana's dearest friend, Dushasan's dearest friend, is bound with ropes and presented in front of her. She said, the pain of a son's death is so excruciating and I am personally experiencing it. How can you give that same pain to another mother, mother of Ashwatthama, release him? She gives 6 reasons. If the resentment was really real, why would she even forgive? Yes, Bhima is a bit aggressive. That is his nature. And he's a devotee ultimately. He's generally very innocent. Bhima is a bit innocent and little excited and little aggressive. Different devotees have different natures. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is very calm and peaceful. Arjuna is little balanced. So they have their own individual natures, but at heart they are not holding any bitter feelings or negativity towards anybody. Being angry with a wrongdoer is not wrong. That's what they are doing. But although they are punishing not exactly out of grudge, but out of their strong disapproval of their misdeeds. Bhima was thinking that one killing of Dushasana is not sufficient. I need to bring him alive and again kill him. In this way, I need to repeatedly kill Dushasana. That much anger he had. Because he has that Kshatriya spirit. It's like Kshatriya nature or a conventional response to difficulty rather than a deep-rooted feeling in their spiritual hearts. They are detached also. No, he's asking turn on the mic.
You were saying that everything is orchestrated by Krishna. Everything is orchestrated by Krishna. Sometimes, at my level, for me, it's difficult to understand how the separation from devotees who sustain you is orchestrated by Krishna.
Separation?
From devotees who sustain you is orchestrated by Krishna.
When they get... Only one will work?
No, sure. We need the batteries.
When a dear devotee is separated from us, where is the devotee going? Maybe Krishna wants him or her in his loving company. Maybe Krishna wants the devotee to do another important service elsewhere. So apparently there is separation between me and that devotee. But between Krishna and the devotee, what communication is happening, I may not be aware. Maybe out of my excitement or love for the devotee, or probably my greed or possessiveness towards the association of the devotee, I want the devotee to be with me. That's good. But Krishna had a different plan. We need to surrender to the plan of Krishna. If Krishna wants to relocate this devotee from this location to another location and assign another service to the devotee, or take him to the spiritual world, allow him to serve the Lord in this Swarupa, why should I have an objection? All the devotees have their own desires to be with some devotees. Still, devotees also surrender to Krishna's will. In the 10th canto there is a beautiful shloka. Naikatra priya samvasah suhurdam chitrakarmanam ugena vyuha bananam plavanam srotaso yatha na ekatra priya samvasah. All the devotees love each other, they cannot stay with each other. Na ekatra priya samvasah. Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev, they both loved each other, but they could never stay together. Only occasional meetings here and there for a few minutes. Why? Suhurdam chitrakarmanam. Although they are friends to each other, they have chitrakarmas. They have unique activities that they have done, because of which they need to experience some kind of results. Oghena vyuhamananam plavanam srotasoyata. An example is also given. Our coming together and getting separated from each other is like two twigs floating on a flowing river. They may be together for a while, but because of the movement of the wheels, which is the will of Krishna, they may get separated, never to meet again. But nevertheless, if they are devotees, Krishna is there for them, and Krishna will do the needful to uplift them spiritually, or give them an engagement, spiritual engagement, to continue their devotional service. That much assurance we should have. If Ram and Sita are separated, who are we? Two struggling sadhakas. If Ram Lakshman and Bharat Shatrugna, they were separated for 14 years. Bharat loved Ram so much, but they were separated for 14 years. That's the nature of this world. The nature of this world is that difficulties appear, pain appears even through separation from near and dear ones also. That's another way of learning our lesson of detachment from this world. Does it make sense? It's difficult to accept, definitely. It's Krishna's will. Let's accept it. We will conclude here. 8:55.
This is Gauranga Darshan Prabhu ki
Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for enlightening on this very important topic of reversals in everyone's life. Of course, everyone here goes through the difficulties. So the only option is to take the shelter of Lord Krishna. So how to take shelter of Krishna? That's the topic for tomorrow in the temple.